Good evening, folks, and welcome to Longwell Art's question and answer session tonight. Let's try that again. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Longwell Art's question and answer session tonight and channel hangout. If you have any questions about arts, I will do my best to answer them for you. Painting questions, if anything you'd like to know about me or the studio of Longwell Art that consists of my son and myself, and in the future my granddaughter, as we each do our live broadcasts, our recordings in the studio that you see behind me here. We also do our paintings and crafts for my granddaughter and the drawings with my son, Isaac. And I know it's kind of on short notice for this particular broadcast, and those of you who could attend tonight, we're glad that you do. I see Lily's out in the audience. Thank you for showing up, Lily. We had some technical difficulties. My internet is not cooperating tonight, so it's making things a little less fancy, so I'm having to use I had to move to this link because of the technical difficulties. OBS and my internet would not handshake correctly because for some reason my internet bandwidth upload has dropped considerably despite what is due. I will be changing to a new internet provider here very soon, and we'll be able to bring you high quality, high definition 1080p live streams of painting demonstrations, drawing demonstrations, and hangouts. There's Rodney B. Hunt. Welcome. Glad that you can make it. And I know, at least, like I mentioned before, it was short notice, but as I can tease Lily a little bit about it, it was kind of on a dare. It's something I've been threatening to do for quite a while, and I had talked to some others about it. And it was just a case of putting it into action. And after talking with Lily this morning, it was real easy to just do it, because perfect just isn't going to get there. And I know better than to. So we'll just move on forward from here. If you have any questions regarding art, artists, or Longwell Art Studios, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll be glad to address them. In the meantime, I'll tell you a little bit about Longwell Art Studios. Longwell Art Studios actually came to life about 6 years ago now. Prior to that, each of us did our art separately and independently, mostly for recreation. Isaac did drawings for custom tattoo work, and he had a little bit of a graphics going where he was selling some of his artwork on mugs at one of the little print-on-demand shops. But there wasn't anything really organized for Longwell Art. About 6 years ago, I met Dale Atkins in an antique store here locally, and he looked at some of my art, and he asked me if I was selling my art. And I said, no, I hadn't thought about it. And he told me, what right did I have to hide my art under a blanket with a gift like mine, that I wasn't sharing it with the world? And that's how Longwell Art Studio and Productions was born. So yeah, thank you, Rodney. You're right that we do have to move forward with our channels, just doing it. And you're right, our channels can't type. We have to wing it. If we don't tell it to do it, it won't happen. But we do have some things planned here. We do have live painting sessions going on planned in the future. We will be doing some artist interviews, both here as well as on other social media sites that have live streaming. And we will bring some of the information from those live streams into our YouTube channel for our viewers to enjoy and learn and gain from. We will be doing these live streams on Friday nights, kind of a what's going on this week, where are we headed next week, and if there's enough interest in it down the road and you'd like an artist to review some of your channel arts and channel layouts and branding and everything, we can help this too. Probably right after the first of the year at the latest, Lily. Yes, we're starting as soon. The delay has been good internet service, and that blessing came unexpectedly today, and so I'll be making a phone call first thing Monday morning to get that ball rolling. So instead of having to wait till the middle of December, maybe it'll happen a little sooner. We'll use December and the holidays to get things wrapped up for the year. There's some things I need to get in order for the channel and for the business for the end of year. And then we'll start those projects of the live streaming artwork and the regular Friday night sessions. We'll do the best we can. Obviously, once I get the new internet installed, it'll be a lot faster and a lot easier. In the meantime, limp along with me, and we'll do the best we can with what we got to work with. Isaac will be joining me once we get the better internet. He's over troubleshooting why we couldn't use OBS right now, trying to figure out technical settings and everything. And so we're very serious about this and bringing you the best production we can and the best quality that we can deliver with the tools we have available to us in the area where we are located. Up to this point, we have been kind of hampered when AT&T bought our internet service provider. Our service actually decreased, and we've been feeling the effects of it since. So that, like I said, that'll soon be out of the way. Isaac's looking at expanding his uploads for Isaac Longwell Art for 2 times a week. We'll be working harder on scheduling. We have our days set. Life gets in the way often, so that those scheduled days don't always happen, but usually something channel related or studio related happens that day. And we've got the usual business stuff we got to deal with. We've got the website to maintain and update, and different data to put on the different social media sharings, and keeping up with certain things in our learning as we continue to grow and everything, and helping others grow along with us. So, it keeps us pretty busy around here. We don't have a lot of goof off time, that's for sure, but we enjoy what we do. We enjoy bringing the art and the creativity and the benefits that creativity will give you, both mentally and physically, to you. And that's why we're working so hard to make all this work, because we have 4 main chemicals that Simon Sinek, and I've adopted it too, calls the happy signals, the happy chemicals. It's endorphins, dopamines, oxytocins, and when the last one leaves me. But these 4 happy chemicals, or serotonin, that's the other one. And these 4 happy chemicals all happen at different instances, and they work together. They defeat stress, they defeat depression, they make us feel better about ourselves, they actually improve our health by reducing stress. There's all kinds of these benefits that are released just by some form of creativity. I see Larry has joined us out there. Thank you for dropping by, Larry. Glad you could make it on such a short notice. And I just met Larry earlier this week and watched one of his live streams. Got a few pointers on how to do our live streams that we've going to be able to bring to you and benefit the ability of what we offer you and make available for you as viewers to the channel. And we're constantly looking for ways that we can give more to you and be most efficient at it at the same time. And as you know, your time is valuable to us. It's, you give it to us, and we appreciate that you give it to us. We want to make sure that you get the most out of what we put out in the time that you spend with us. So we appreciate any suggestions or requests that you might have. If you happen to come up with something you'd like covered in the way of a subject, whether it be a subject in a painting or whether it be how to do something in a painting, feel free to ask us, hey, how do you do X? Like, how do you paint clouds? How do you paint mountains? What kind of different ways are there to paint grass and brushes and flowers and trees and live trees and dead trees and twisted trees? And we'll try to cover all these as we go along. But if you have something specific you would like us to address right away, let us know and we'll adjust our schedule, because it's probably already there. We just have to move where we make it available for you. Oh, AT&T is our service provider. They bought the Southwestern Bell, and when they did, my upload speed literally dropped to less than 1/6 of what I had previously. If you want your kids to get into painting, Rodney, I would say the big thing to be started out with is you want to do maybe. Do you want them to be painting like these paintings behind me, or you know, what are their age brackets? There's kind of different things there to factor in. If they're, say, 3 to 7, 3 to 9 maybe, okay, and that's a variable right in there on that, between that 7 and 9, I would actually go to your local Walmart or department store and pick up some finger paints, some non-toxic finger paints in a brand that you're comfortable using. And we have some finger painting channels on the finger painting videos on the channel to show different ways to finger paint a few things. For the future that my granddaughter will be doing topics in fingernail or finger painting, fingernail painting. My granddaughter might like that too. I don't know. Any good artist kit from either Hobby Lobby or Walmart will be a good start as well, because they want to feel it. 3 to 16, so they're all over the place. She loves to draw on 16. She's never really painted. Okay. That's really pretty easy. Basically, she needs to, first off, get her some watercolors or one of those art sets that I was talking about, the little carry case that comes with the pencils and the paints. Most of them come with acrylic paint or watercolors. If she wants to move into some serious painting and move up into something like oil painting, then I would get her a starter acrylic set and tell her to do a tracing of her original drawing so she doesn't mess up the original, or scan it in the computer and print out a fresh one, and then use the acrylic and paint in there to get used to drawing the lines and outlines and handling the tools. I have beginner videos here on the channel that explain some of the things you need to be aware of, like color contrast, color complement. I haven't gone a whole lot into color mixing yet, but there's things like proportion and perspective, so that it looks like there's a distance instead of looking like flat when you look at the paintings. Even the cameras, even though a camera tends to show these two painting as kind of flat, you can see that there's still some dimension to that. There's distances that you can see, so it doesn't look like you're just staring at a flat surface, but there's a feel that it goes further back, even when your mind knows that it's actually a 2D surface. And those are handled through your perspective and stuff like that. So yeah, there's plenty of steps. we are looking at providing a step-by-step beginner to advanced painter course, and we're not sure exactly how, at what level we're going to change things on that. For instructions, we'll do as much as we can and provide as much as we can to our YouTube viewers at no cost to you, other than a little bit of your time to practice and train and figure out how we're doing it as we explain it. But at some point, there's going to probably be a tipping point where there'll be a course that will be more or less an online private lessons type deal, where you'll have a closed area that you can come and ask questions and get maybe one-on-one help live like this. There are ways we can do that with video broadcasting now and everything. So there are things planned to take someone from zero to startup to more advanced levels. And it's just, we're slowly working there and getting them in place. Have her drop by, subscribe to the channel, check out the videos that we have. If she has some questions about some things she'd like to learn more about, be sure and drop us a line or a comment in one of the videos. You know how to reach me, I believe, through our groups on Facebook. Hello, Wolfgang. How are you this evening? Glad to see you were able to drop by. And this goes for anyone that would like to learn to draw and to paint, is that as an artist of 50 years next month that did paintings for 50 years, prior to that I used wood burners and pencils and stuff, that I still go watch and observe other painters, because there are still things you can learn no matter how long you do something, because they might do something in a way that you never thought of. So don't pick one as a mentor that she's comfortable with, but don't be afraid or feel guilty because you went and checked out these other artists too. Brian G was on, you're sketching a brown stone, huh? Okay. So you're sketching something on a brown stone, or you've been making this, trying to make a brown stone there, Wolfgang? And for those that are here in the channel, I mentioned and said hello to Larry earlier. And he is another oil paint artist. He does a wet technique. I know what oh, a sketch of the brownstone type, like a New York or Boston brownstone, a building. So, but Larry will tell you that we can learn from one another, and his techniques are different because he uses and the way he goes about it is better for some artists. Whereas I literally, if I put any sketches on at all on a painting, it'll be like the one behind me over here. And what I did is I just basically put a rough line of where I want the horizon for the cliffs when I drop this initial layer of the sky in, so that the cliffs overlay it, so it looks like the sky goes naturally behind them in the distance. And that would be the only line I would draw generally, because in my mind's eye, I've already determined the low horizon line that at the bottom of the rocks. And I'm just dropping in, okay, I want the sky to come down to about here because these rocks are going to be this tall. Whereas this one over here behind me on my left, I didn't do anything. I just put it there, as you can, and that video series is being put up now and painted, and you can watch that and watch the different steps and techniques I do that. Other artists find it very helpful to have a drawing on their canvas, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, most art colleges and art schools teach that. But I paint like I do, And as long as I have, I've had no formal education as far as art colleges. And when I started talking to art professors about attending art school, they said that really at the point I was at, because of my experience with working with paints and different types of paints and tools, and how I was able to understand the form of human body and structure and perception and depth of field and things like that, that there wasn't really anything in the college other than maybe an art history class here and there that would make that big of a difference for my techniques. So I've had no art college. I've been to college, but it was for computer sciences. And but as far as the art, it's been something I've pursued all my life. And so it's called a life experience type training. And I'm glad to share that. But at the same time, I'm not going to say someone else is doing it wrong unless they're blatantly giving you bad advice. Now, I do my best not to criticize someone else's technique or anything because it works for them. But there are going to be times if you spot something and you're going to ask me about it, if I notice something when I go look at it that could be a problem later for you in your growth as an artist, as your growth as a creative, then I may be outspoken a bit and may even seem harsh in what I say about the person's technique or what they're doing. But for the most part, I try to look at them with a grain of salt. Yeah, Larry says he was a math major in college, spent his career in computer programming and management. So no art school for him either. And if you're here tonight, you might want to check out his channel if you like oil paintings and such. He does a fine job and he carries on a good conversation with everyone. So I'm sure I can get some pointers and tips from him on how to better deliver to you while I'm doing the painting. This is good practice for me here tonight because I'm generally not a chatter type person. So yes, Wolfgang, people would say we have a natural talent. Anyone can develop the skill. Okay, Rodney, glad you stopped by. Thanks for taking time with us, and we'll see you next time. Appreciate you dropping by. So does anybody have any questions that they would like addressed, or something that they would like to, a topic they would like to cover regarding art? Bye again, Rodney. Thanks again for stopping. Yeah, it does. It does. It's a good stress reliever. That's why one of the things I encourage is sketching and drawing, being creative, because yeah, it's relaxing, and it's because those happy chemicals are released, and when those happy chemicals are released, your stress drains off. Because your stress drains off, your body gets a chance to heal and improve in other ways that stress prevents it from healing. Can I do all mediums? Yes, Wolfgang. Do I do all mediums? I'm not particularly crazy of what they call a soft pastel, which is the kind of chalky ones. Now, that could be because I've just used what is known as the hard soft pastels. I love oil pastels, because I can blend them and everything. And I've never invested in the a good set of soft pastels, somebody like Cinelaire or something like that. And I've thought about it, but with what I do and everything, it's whether or not it's practical versus time I have available. So it's something I may investigate on the channel, and others can follow along and join us in the journey. A lot of people are afraid of oils or they're allergic to the solvents, but there are ways around that now too, as far as the because usually it's the solvents they're allergic to. If the solvents aren't causing breathing problems or whatever like that. And with the water soluble oils now, they even actually have an agent that you can add to conventional oil paints now that make regular oil paints water soluble, so you can clean up in water. Let me give you a tip on the watercolor paintings then, Wolfgang. Everybody says traditionally that, they're these real pale, washed out things. And if you can master that, that's fine. But the first painting I actually sold but when the first painting I actually sold was a watercolor, and it was not painted traditional watercolor. It was actually painted more like a marker or the colored pencil type watercolors where you'd pencil it in like a colored pencil and then wet it to give it the watercolor look and effect. Right. A lot of people do that if you're not doing freehand. But like I said, I do a lot of freehand. Most of my art is freehand, even in watercolors. And the techniques are different. And there's nothing wrong with the way you're doing it. In fact, it's a very effective way of making art. And I don't discourage it. If it works for you and you're creating and you're getting the benefits from creating, then that's what matters to me. It really is. And that's what our opinion as a whole at Longwell Art Studios is, that you benefit from the art. Whether it's a piece of art that you've decided to purchase or have painted specifically for you, or whether you decide you want to learn to create yourself to create these various pieces of artwork, our main goal is that you benefit mentally and physically, health-wise, from the art and the creativity. Yeah, it's a wonderful medium. I've been talking with people on the internet since the mid-90s. And who you meet and what you learn, because you've got such an international pool to draw from, it's just wonderful, because not only do you get to learn from people in your own country on how they do things, but you get to learn techniques that are specific to certain regions around the globe. So that makes it really nice too. So yeah, I agree. The internet has definitely been a blessing, and so is YouTube. Well, we've been here about a half hour. It looks like. Oh, there we go. Isaac managed to get things working and going over there. I popped in for us. He's going to be our moderator for these live events, as well as technical on the live events when we're doing, if we're watching me do live artwork. If he's doing live artwork, I'll be doing the technical, and we'll probably split the. Hey, Liz, welcome. Drop by. You almost missed the whole thing. We're thinking things were wrapping up. We can kind of hang out. Did you have any questions that you wanted to address or talk about, or topics you wanted to talk about regarding art or creativity for the mental and physical health benefits, Liz? Yeah, Isaac makes a very good point, Liz. You did show up. You get a big, large E for effort, and that counts more than anything, right? The difference between the acrylics and the oil paints, primarily it's the bonding agent. Acrylics are the bonding agent is man-made. It's a chemical polymer. So it's water resistant in a different way. And because of the compound in the polymer, it dries quicker. So you can actually do the process faster. They actually had to learn how to make acrylics. They're just now coming out with Golden. It came out with a yeah, it can be. They've come out anyway. As I was saying, they've come out with what they call Golden has come out with an open acrylic so that it doesn't dry as fast, so that you can work it up to like a half hour, so that you can work with it more like oils for the water cleanup. It makes it nice. It can be more difficult to clean up oils than acrylics, but not if you do it right. And that comes down to your teacher. Because if you don't take care of your brushes with either paint, it's going to be the same constant expense of brushes. Gelatos. I don't know if you spelled it right or not, but that's okay. We're not on a spelling bee here. But no, I don't do any gelatos or any type of that type of art. I've done screen printing. It was more school projects than anything else. Actually, I have some videos about cleaning brushes. I devote one whole video to care for your brushes. And the one thing, I think the key thing to remember with brushes is that when you do clean them, don't stand them up on end. Let's see here. If I can grab a brush here real quick. I was able to reach a brush. Most people, when they get finished with a brush, they clean it, and they're cleaner or water or whatever. Then they stick it up in a glass like this. They just drop it in the glass like that. So what happens is whatever's in here, paint, water, oil, paint thinner, whatever the case may be, it runs down inside. What happens is there's glue in the brush in here to hold the ferrule to the handle, and there's glue in here to hold the bristles. The crimp isn't all that's holding the paint. There's tied strings, and then there's glue in there to hold that bundle. And what happens is it breaks that thinner or water or whatever starts to break down that glue. The handle gets loose, the bristles fall out more often, and you buy brushes a lot. If you're using acrylic paints, you want to get an aftermarket brush cleaner. Trying to think of the name of it. Let's see if I can spot the bottle here easy enough. No, but I know Dick's and I know Jerry's Art Supply both carry this particular cleaner, and you swish it around in there. I've seen it take a brush that was just solid brick, almost of paint, and you thought there's no saving that. And this particular cleaner, it took several days of stirring it around and working it and then let it soak in there, but it actually broke this down. But what you want to do with either of your paints while they're still wet, when you finish for a day, you want to kind of, if you're acrylic painting especially, you want to kind of keep your brushes moist. You know, just even if just the tips are in the water, because even the synthetic will leach the water up the bristles a little bit. So that, and keep your brushes moist until you're finished painting for the day. And then do a real good scrub out of them in your container. Go to Hobby Lobby or one of the online art supply stores. Get the little Bob Ross grate that goes in the bottom of a bucket. It's a little round basket looking thing with a expanded metal type top on it. It lets you clean them real good like this to knock and clean and loosen stuff off of your bristles. But the thing you want to do that is go to an auto parts store or the auto department in your department store that's local to you, whether it be Target, Walmart, Kmart, whatever, and get a can of hand cleaner. Now make sure you get the kind that does not have pumice. Lemon or orange without pumice, because pumice is a grainy sand like the lava soap has. That and then you put it in and you work it like this into the brush bristles and everything, and you keep working. Yeah, beat the devil out of them. You want to knock that stuff loose and get as much of that out of it as you can. But after you use that liquid that I'm talking about, you want to use that hand cleaner and work it up into the bristles. And you'll just work it just like you're going to hand wash something, and just keep working it and work it that up into the bristles. And because it also has lanolin, so it's good for the filaments, the hairs and threads, and even the silicone synthetic brushes. The lanolin actually benefits. And then you wash it out real good with soap and regular soap and water, a mild detergent, the hand soap that you use at the sink, the little pump bottles is good enough of a soap to do the final washout. And then if you can store them to where they can lay down a little bit like that, so much the better. But at the most, always lay them flat. Lay them flat or just tipped just a little bit like this. Never, ever, ever like that. The liquid gets down in there and it'll kill your brushes, and you'll buy brushes more often. The one and only, welcome. Glad you could show up tonight. Shout out to your boys, May, Vay, Troy, Adam, and Vincent. Hello, boys. Glad you could join us tonight. Appreciate you joining your parent to stop by. Hope you continue to watch our channel and enjoy some things. We got some projects on the channel already, and we have some planned for the future as a studio that families can do together. Kids and adults get the family time and do the creativity. Be sure and check those out too. Yes, good point, Larry. That's a good thing too. Well, I use I got in the habit of using the hand cleaner because the dish detergents years ago were so harsh, and the what was the soap back then? There was only one dish soap back then that really had any softening agents in it, so that it wasn't as hard on your hands. So that's what I got used to using the hand cleaner. Back then, I think the only one I had was Gojo back then. And in fact, that's what I still use today, because locally I can't find the orange without the pumice. It has the grit in it, and the grit will work like granules of sand and chew off your bristles and break them up for you. So be sure, whatever you do, whether it's a good degreasing hands or dishwashing liquid or the mechanic's hand cleaner, make sure that whatever you get to clean does not have a grain like a sand in it. If it's just look for the word pumice. That's usually what they use to make it a rough, light surface. Well, we're glad to have you here too, Wolfgang. I know you've been at several of Brian's threads, and we met over there. So I'm glad we were able to help you out with that. Like I said, we got a lot of tips and trick videos that we've already done. Some simple creativity videos. We've actually only been making videos for the public as far as how-tos and educational videos since the 1st of August. So we've only just begun, and we're more than glad for you to join us in the journey and address any specific things that you want us to cover as far as subjects, whether it be, if we need a more in-depth video on cleaning your brushes and showing you the step-by-steps that I use, then be more than glad to make the video for you for that. There's ways to do that, though, Wolfgang, and Brian's actually got a lot of stuff regarding using Apple products on his channel. So if you check out Brian's channel that you were in his live chat earlier today, he's got lots of videos on software and how to use things for that tool. Larry, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you stopping and just in for the chat. And we'll see you next time. Your next broadcast, what, 2 weeks? Probably after Thanksgiving, I'm sure. So we'll watch for you then. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Liz. It was glad I was able to help out. Like I said, if that video on cleaning doesn't have all your answers for your questions, let me know and we'll make another one. Because if it leaves something that you don't understand or you need covered more, probably will benefit others too. Right, the watercolor demo. I knew it was watercolors, but I couldn't remember I was thinking it was a week from this coming Wednesday. So we'll see you then, Larry. Have a good weekend. And Liz, don't let that camera beat you up too bad. And we look forward to talking with you again too. You're very welcome, Wolfgang. I'm glad of Lily Mae for kicking me to get this off and going. So you have an idea where we're headed now with the channel, some of the things we want to bring you. And we appreciate you spending the time with us today. We'll be back here again next Friday. So bring your questions and answers. If we don't have the new service up by then, I'll be doing the broadcast the same way. So it'll be kind of a hangout on air. But I can actually arrange ahead of time if you let me know if there's something that would interest you that we can bring people in. And in the meantime, this is Longwell Art Studios thanking you for stopping by tonight for our subscriber question and answer. Have a good weekend, but most of all, keep creating, and you be sure and have fun. And we'll see you guys next time as we all create for contentment.